Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It is Saturday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's in New York, in Toronto, where I am. And for everyone who has expressed interest in coming to join us today on a Saturday, it was just, to me, it was a little surprising. And then I remembered that Mark, who is our beautiful guest today, created quite the stir when his testimonial went up. And I think the reason is because Mark is just such an incredible soul. Like, I had the privilege of speaking to you, Mark, a few weeks ago, and I feel very emotional. Like, there's some people that you just feel like some sort of a soul connection. And there's something about you that just reaches through the universe. And it really touched my heart. Like, really, it did. And then I thought I was the only person, but of course I wasn't, because Charu had the same reaction. And there are so many people who had the same reaction, and so many people who are waiting for the replay who couldn't join us today. So, Mark, I just loved your testimonial. I felt I knew you even before I met you, and we did a Zoom together. And then we chatted, and I just really fell in love with you. Is Buffy with us today?
She is not. She's done doing some work. She's in and out, so maybe she'll pop in for a
Yeah.
second. But
I just I hope she knows she's like sharing you with the world, because you just have this unbelievable, beautiful soul, and I she must be an exceptionally incredible human being to, just to share life with you, because I feel with you, you're just someone who lifts everybody up. And it would just be so unbelievable to be in your circle all the time. So, Mark, you left such a huge imprint on my heart, and I'm so excited to have you today, and so excited that I get to be a participant, which I love doing because Charu is going to be hosting you today. And Charu, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to actually hand it over to you to do formal introductions. And we welcome anybody to raise their hand. Charu and Mark, is it your preference that people hold questions till the end, or would you like something more interactive if people have questions throughout?
that's up to Charo. I can do whatever. But before we go into that, Farzana, thank you so much. And I mean, it's bright and early here in Los Angeles, and you already got me crying. So I don't know where we're gonna go with this, but already I'm feeling the emotion.
And Charu, before you speak, I wanted to let you know, Mark, I changed the song to Robbie Williams' "I Love My Life." It's because to me, that's an anthem. It's I that used to be my anthem before. It was in my mind movie. And then after meeting you, I was like, that song keeps popping into my mind, because when we talked, when we chatted, it just, that Robbie Williams song, "I Love My Life," just kept like really, really resonating. It's like an earworm. So I had to play it, and I saw you bopping away to it. And if it's not a song on your playlist, I hope it is now, because that's what I think of when I know
I had
what I
never
know you.
heard it before, so it is
Oh,
definitely going on my playlist, and thank you for that.
okay, you're welcome. Okay, sorry, Charu, my love. Go ahead. Let me know
All
if you'd like the
right.
audience to ask throughout, or would you like them to wait until the end?
Well, welcome everybody. As usual, we're just gonna wing it. I think the energy of the room decides what we do. What would be great would be that we just start with a small quiz. Starting now, how many people were able to watch Mark's testimonial or the episode on the podcast? Just raise your hand or give me an emoji, something, something. I'm just trying to, this is not going to be a report card. I'm just trying to gauge. Okay. So a lot of you have done it. A lot of you have not responded. So I feel like we should then, oh, great. A lot of people have seen it. I feel like, how about Mark, we start with the start and then we get to the juicy stuff pretty quickly, because a lot of people here are aware of the journey, but there is so much that has happened and you've grown a lot meanwhile. And I want to get to all those bits because that's what is not on the recordings. How does that sound?
Right. That sounds great. That sounds great. So, I mean, a lot of you already know my story. It started about 2.5 years ago when I was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It spread to my lymph nodes and my liver. And my first oncologist gave me 4 to 6 months. And I'm sure, like everybody that would hear that, it was just this enormous gut punch. And it put me into a state of shock. It put me into a state of fear. And it put me into a state of confusion. I had no idea. I mean, if you heard my story, 1 week prior, I'm on this amazing vacation with my wife Buffy, and we're enjoying this weekend. We're talking about the future, and 1 week later, they're saying my life is over. And I'm like, I was speechless. And so they ended up finding me a specialist. I talked to the specialist, but my specialist was not giving me any like help. Healing was out off the table. I was inoperable, I was incurable, I was terminal, and that the best case scenario was to give me these two different types of chemos, a carboplatin and an etoposide, along with Tecentriq, which was this immunotherapy. And even though the immunotherapy was to target this specific protein, a PDL1 protein in your tumor, and my tumor actually was not producing that. But my oncologist was like, well, it can't hurt. Let's just try. And so that was my options. And I said, okay, we did my first round. Um, and then I came home and I was recovering from that first round of chemo. And as you know, somebody sent me the documentary Heal. From there, I found Dr. Joe. And from there, I just dove into this world. It was incredible. And I started to see Dr. Joe's stories of transformation. I was reading the book Radical Remission. I was watching that documentary Heal. And even though these people were given these dire circumstances, these terminal illnesses, these things that modern medicine could not help or correct, these people were coming out okay. And with 6 months to live, why not? And I just dove in and I became a sponge. And I wanted to learn as much as I could. I wanted to practice as much as I could. And I just wanted to send my belief system to there. And I was like, if this thing works and I dive in, I'm like, I wasn't gonna like leave any stone unturned. And that's
Wait,
how
before
it
you
kind
go
of,
further, Mark,
yes.
I have an important question. So you said something important. You said I had 6 months and I decided why not. There are many people who feel like that is a very difficult moment where you have to make a choice to live or to surrender to the diagnosis. I want to know if you now have clarity on why you had the strength and optimism at the time that I have 6 months, I choose this lane and not the other one where I will just complain and sort of surrender to like, well, life is short, I'm going anyway.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I talk to so many people now and people that have been given this diagnosis. And there's literally like two sides of the road, two sides of the coin. You have the people like myself who are like, I'm gonna do everything and anything to survive, to live. And going back a little bit, I mean, I grew up, I'm just a positive person by nature, I think. And I mean, if I had 6 months to live, was I going to spend those 6 months just in angst, in agony, in depression? Or was I going to go out on the top of my game, how I was? I just wanted to live. I wanted to smile. I wanted to laugh. Like that was my soul. That's who I am at the core. I couldn't spend, if I only had a short amount of time, there was no way I was going to go out in this anger, angst, depressed, just tight knit person. I had to be free. had to let my wings fly, and I was just going to enjoy every last drop of whatever that life was going to give me. So yeah, I think there was an innate thing from me, from my being, that I just chose that. But I do see the other side of the coin, like I said, and there's people and they're like, if I only got 6 months to live, then I'm gonna just, and it's weird because I want to live life to the fullest, but at the same time, health and healing was at my core. Because I do see that other side where they want to live life to the fullest, but they're not thinking about healing. They're thinking about dying. And so I can eat as much ice cream as I want. I should go to that steak dinner. I should just do this. And they're living life, but they're living it from a terminal side. I was living it as if I was going to make myself better. And I wasn't looking at it as it was the end. To me, it was a new beginning. And every day is this new beginning. We have a choice when we wake up in the morning to make that decision. And I don't not sure if I said this in my talk or not, and I might have told it with you, Charo, but every morning I would wake up and I would pretty much do this body scan. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm alive. I'm not dying today. Well, if I'm not dying today, what can I do to make this day the absolute best day of my life? And so that became my regiment. I would wake up, do my scan, say I'm not dying today, and live my life for 24 hours. And then the next day I would repeat it. And I was living my life 24 hours at a time.
So powerful, one day at a time, and at a time where maybe even thinking about your life long term can bring a lot of anxiety of whether this is going to happen or not. But I think it's something really important that you're saying. You can live a long life with your focus on death, or you can live a life with your focus on living. And you chose the second one where you broke it down into smaller segments and said, well, today, right now, being here now, I'm not dying, I'm alive. And I wonder if that really changes not just your physiology, but also your energy.
Oh, 100%. In fact, if we go back to before I was diagnosed, I was um I was in this longevity kick. I was getting into the world of longevity. I was trying to figure out how do I live forever. And I was doing supplements and I was doing all these things. And then I get diagnosed and I'm like, oh my God, I'm killing myself trying to live forever because I didn't know what was causing it, you know? But I think the mindset of me having to live a quantitative life was so stressful that I forgot how to live a quality life. And
Yes.
I think that became my biggest lesson. It's not about how long we live, it's about how we live for however long we are here.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that is crucial. I think also what happens with longevity and biohacking and doing all these Ayurvedic remedies for like a long life, I'm always wondering, like, right, but that's a really long life. Is it going to be a happy life? That's not guaranteed. And I think that's more important. Like, I'd rather live a happy, fulfilled, satisfied existence. And then, we'll see where it goes rather than planning a really long life, which is none of those boxes are checked. But thank you.
No, totally. But I will have to say this, just kind of gets us off course a little bit, but it is still how I kind of live. And it's so interesting because the one thing I kind of follow in my life now is the people in the blue zones, these people that are living very long lives. And I'm like, what are they doing? And they're not feeding their bodies full of these medicines and these chemicals. They're living off the land. They're eating natural, healthy foods. They're out there exercising. They're farming. They're having community. They're eating with their family and their friends, and they're out in nature. And this, that's living.
Yeah.
And so I've adopted that, and it's a huge part of what I believe is that my seven ingredients in the healing recipe. I think there's something to that, and I wish more people would start to go that way instead of biohacking, instead of trying to figure out the shortcut. Let's just look at the people that have been doing it for centuries and repeat. You don't have to rebuild the wheel, just like do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what the blue zones are, there are areas on the earth that have been studied now, like places in Japan, like Okinawa, places in South America, all over the world. There are these pockets where people live more than 100 years. And they live not just long lives, they live healthy lives where these people are actually doing a lot of physical labor and they are happy and pretty healthy. And one of the things that comes to mind is also something you said, which was that spoke to me when I watched this on Netflix. I think it's called Blue Zones or something. And they said
Mhm.
the common thread across all these zones was that these people all focused on community and relationships and not just themselves. And I thought that was so spot on because all the other modalities, they sort of make you very myopic, like me, my life, my health, my this. But these people who are living long, happy, healthy lives were focused on the web of relationships around them. And second, they had a lot of purpose in life. They had something to live for, which brings me to what you said, the original question of how you were able to make that choice. I think you said you were kind of also born like that. Maybe we're all born like that, but we forget it. But for somebody listening right now who has a tough diagnosis, is feeling really, really disappointed and frustrated, and is not able to make that choice of like, no, I'm going to choose to live. Is there something that you can say to help this person?
You know, it's, I think it just comes down to that inner self and getting in touch with that soul within and really talking to it. Because, and we'll talk about what has happened just a week ago pretty soon, but I had to do a little soul searching myself recently. And when you get to the soul and you find out, what does your soul want? What does your soul need? How does it want to live? And for me, that was just in exuberance, in love, in joy, in service, in anxiousness, in excitement, like all of these emotions that the minute you start getting a diagnosis, it all starts to go away. It becomes very dark and very black,
Yeah.
and you have that dark moment of the soul, and all of a sudden you're hit with this anxiety that it's all over. And but the minute you breathe, the minute you get quiet, the minute that you start to talk to your soul knows things that you will never know. And it delivers it. It's kind of a need to know basis. And
That's true.
it will deliver those words of advice, those those steps you're supposed to take when you're supposed to take them. But I think it really comes down to trust and faith and knowing that my soul does exist, that I'm not just out here all by myself navigating in this world that is so confusing. I think when we start to understand that we have a teammate, that we have a soulmate, that we have a team player, we start to feel less alone.
Yeah.
And when you start to feel less alone, you can start to build upon that. You can start to get strength. You can start to find energy. You can start to find excitement, and you can start to find purpose. And you don't have to have a purpose that's going to last for 25 years. It doesn't matter if you're gone tomorrow. What is your purpose for today? Who can you help today? How can you be of service and how can you make those 24 hours the best 24 hours of your entire life?
Yeah, amazing. And I just want to clarify when Mark is saying soulmate, he means you. You are your soulmate, right? Nobody
Yes.
outside of us, because
No,
you're
no, no.
so
There,
you're so right. The loneliness that can come with any tragedy, loss, grief, losing someone, health issues, the loneliness that comes with it. Often the backdrop in our mind becomes like, I'm all alone in this. Everyone else is having fun. And I'm here stuck with this. And it feels like a really isolated place. But what you said is powerful, is to go back to your soul, that spirit inside you that has chosen this experience for a reason, and to, in that dark moment, take your attention away from everyone else and their life and put it back on yourself and ask yourself, like, what do you want? What is the lesson in all of this for me? Beautiful. I love it. So we will take
thank you.
2 steps back, because
Okay.
there is something great there. So you have the diagnosis. You're watching Joe Dispenza's Stories of Transformation. You are saying, well, if it's possible for them, it's possible for me. You have never meditated, and you just dive in and go for it. And then what happens?
Yeah, so I'm watching the stories of transformation, hearing people talking about healing. They're talking about they've been meditating, and this is what they're getting from this. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna try that. And so we download one of the meditations. Actually, there was a few, but the ones that I was gravitating to was that Blessings of the Energy Centers. And it comes with a little instructional tape, and we listened to that, and we just dove in. My wife and I, we decided we were going to do this twice a day, and it was going to be our first thing we did in the morning and the last thing we did before bed. And we just started doing it, and I didn't know if I was doing it right. I didn't know. I didn't know. I just started doing it, and about a month in, as you all know, or some of you know, that I started to vibrate. And like I said with Dr. Joe, I was vibrating like a fish out of water. I mean, I was moving, things were happening to my body that there was no way that I could have physically have been making them happen. And the more I relaxed, the more I just flopped. And energy was just so powerful. And I didn't know if energy was coming into my body or if I was releasing energy or what the hell was happening. But there was something going on. And we ended that meditation. And it was, I can still see my wife just kind of looking at me like, what was that? And I'm like, I have no idea. But it didn't hurt. It didn't scare me. And I just kind of went with it. And then it was about 3 o'clock in the morning after we had went to bed that I had woke up with what I describe as a explosion out of my spine. It was loud. It popped. I heard it. I woke up. I screamed. I woke my wife up. She's like, what's happening? And I'm like, something just exploded out of my spine. And I'm like, I see the brightest lights. And she goes, Mark, you're dreaming. And I go, no, if I'm dreaming, it's the most realistic dream I've ever had. And we were just talking about it, and I was explaining it, and we finally went to bed. And it was 2 weeks later that I had my first PET scan. Um, I had done one round of the chemo. Maybe I think I'm possibly had done just finished my second round of chemo. And if you recall, my doctor said that there was no possible way of getting rid of this. There was maybe we could shrink it a little bit to give me a little bit of ease of my pain, but there was nothing they could do to get rid of this. And here we are, after a month of my meditating, a big explosion, vibration through my body. I go to get my PET scan, and there was no tumor in my pancreas. It was gone. And we had done multiples and CTs and MRIs, and it was gone. There was nothing there. And it blew my mind. And I just knew in that moment. I know when it happened. I know when I broke free.
Yeah.
And that was that explosion.
Wow. And you had never had any of these experiences before in life. So you had no context for it. You were just doing the meditation, also probably asking those initial questions of what is space and where is the void?
Oh
The
my God,
beginning.
100%.
Yeah, but you kept going. And did you feel like you didn't know everything about meditation and yet you were just doing it and showing up and the results were still there?
1000%. And I think the more we figure, it's so interesting because now in hindsight, I get so many people asking me, like, which one did you do and how did you do it? And I think the more you start focusing on the how, and trying to be perfect at it, I think we go away from it. I think honestly, one of the reasons why it happened so quickly is because I didn't have that mental block. I was not comparing myself to anything. I was just doing. I was just being. He said,
Yeah.
go to the unknown. I went to the unknown. He said, hang out in space. I hung out in space. He said, put your attention in your perineum. I put my attention in my perineum. I just did what he said and I didn't question it. And I think that's why the effect happened so quickly.
Yeah. So you got out of your own way. And I think Dr. Joe speaks to that a little bit as well, that sometimes first time meditators have these incredible experiences because they're so childlike and open to whatever it is in the unknown. And yet people who sometimes have meditated for 26 years, when they try to do something like a Joe Dispenza meditation, there can be an obstacle because there is a reference point of how it's supposed to be and how I'm supposed to sit and how it's supposed to feel. And so, if there is anybody on this call who doesn't meditate, although I really doubt it, if there's anybody here who wants to try to meditate and feels like, I don't know if I have the right genes to be able to meditate correctly, then take this as your cue that anybody can do it. And actually, if you don't have any reference point, you're probably going to create something really fantastic.
And I tell that to so many people because when I'm start talking about meditation, I'm almost 90% of the time I'm hit with, oh, I can't meditate. I've tried meditation, it just doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. And my go-to, my answer to that is I said, have you ever watched a sunset? Have you ever got lost in a bonfire? That's meditation. All you're doing is putting your attention off of everything else and onto one specific thing.
Yeah.
And when you focus on that one specific thing and that everything else just kind of fade away, there's something about that attention being focused on that, either your breath, a sunset, a bonfire. When we get lost in that, everything else starts to drift away. And we'll talk about it a little later, but every answer, I believe, is found in that silence. It's found in that quiet. We're never going to be able to analyze ourselves to a problem solver. And that's what our minds want to do. They're programmed to solve problems. And we get these problems in our life, and all we want to do is analyze and figure it out. And our minds just spin 24/7. And we never figure out the answer. And we're like, why? What are we missing? And you're missing the silence. The answer lies within. There's that whole joke, and I don't know exactly how it goes, but it's like let's put the answer where they'll never look for it, in themselves.
Yes.
And and that's where it is. And no matter how hard our life gets, no matter how difficult, no matter what it's thrown at us, slow that mind down. Get quiet. I don't care if you meditate, I don't care if you just breathe, but you want to know every answer to every problem you're experiencing. It's all here. It's all there. And it might not give you the full answer, but it's going to give you the next step. And that's all we can do in this world is take that next step.
Yeah, beautiful. And I will add to that, not only the next step, but also kind of inspired by your story of taking that right next step that's not coming from the mind. Because I think when we look at your journey, um, you're living your best life, diagnosis happens, you're a problem solver. You could have gone many ways, right? You could have gone into 1001 therapies and shamans and healers and this and that, and none of those would be the wrong choice. But those would be guided by your mind that is trying to solve a problem from a very limited place because the mind is very limited. And yet you got in touch with the divine in you, which is the unlimited. And it makes sense then that the solution that you would be attracted to would be a more holistic solution. And in your case, it was like your soul saying, well, no, let's go here because we're going to fix it. We're going to fix the blueprint, the operating system. We're not going to treat and put a band aid on it. Does that make sense?
100%. And that's exactly what it was. And I tell everybody, I don't think the miracle was really just the healing. The miracle was the path that I was led to take, because that's what I now sit into. That's my strength. It's not knowing that I know every answer to every problem, but I do know that if I get quiet and I get still, I will be guided to take whatever that next step for me is. And we all have a different path.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And when we start to try to follow someone else's path, we get lost. We get stuck out in the woods somewhere. We need to stay on our personal path. Doesn't mean that those paths don't intertwine and wind and we connect and we have all these people. But if we truly want to follow our soul's purpose, we got to follow and stay on our personal path and stop trying to follow and get on somebody else's and hope and pray that that's going to lead us to where we need to go, because it might not.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to ask everybody to get ready with their questions because I feel like this would be a great place to get to ask your questions. Of course, Mark has so many other good things, but I think when people ask questions, you're going to be able to speak to all those points. Guys, just don't be shy. Just raise your hand or pop your question in the chat or just unmute and go. Who has a question? Nobody? Everything is clear. Wow. We must be doing really well.
I don't have a question, but while people are maybe overcoming their shyness or just mesmerized because you and Charo are doing a great job, I just want to tell you that something really jumped out at me. I've had my own healing journey, but hearing something in your words were so resonant. You said your soul gives you information on a need to know basis. You said just before that how everything, in your world was really bright. You were living your best life. And then you get the diagnosis and everything goes black. And you think you're alone. And when you tap into that soul place, you realize you're not alone. And there is some intellectual energy that's inside you that really can lead you the way. But you really have to get into silence to hear that voice. You can't hear it in the clutter of the fear and the chaos. And that happens, like I know when you get a diagnosis, even the blood that rushes through your brain is like you can hear the blood rush through your brain. It's like that fight or flight response that comes right away. So thank you, Mark, for articulating that so beautifully. Thank you so much. I just love that.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Anybody
So
else have any questions? If not,
I'm gonna ask on behalf of some of these silent people today, what's going on? They're usually like such like
I
question.
don't bite.
Well, I'll ask you a question. So
Okay.
now that once you were once you overcame the cancer and you looked at your life, I know that you did like a complete overhaul of many things in your life. Let's speak about that. Like what happened after, how you changed your life and how you came about your healing recipe.
Yeah. And I always say this a lot, like, and I sound so selfish when I talk about it, but before my diagnosis, I was so caught up in the fear of not having or being enough. I needed more clients. I needed more money. I needed more savings. I needed more time. I need. And I was coming at life from this space of lack. And I just didn't have enough. And I had a lot. But for some reason, I just thought that I didn't have enough. And honestly, if I have to do a deep dive and if I am being real with myself, I really think that that caused my cancer. I think the stress of not being enough, not having enough, not that fear that I wasn't going to have enough time, that I wasn't going to achieve all my goals. That fear, because it was a constant thought in my head, I think that stress led to my cancer. And like I kind of said before, cancer has been my greatest gift. It's been my greatest teacher. It's been I would have never in 2.5 years ago said that when I got that diagnosis, when I hit that dark moment of the soul, that 2.5 years later, I'd be talking to a group of people like you and saying cancer was my greatest gift. But I can honestly sit here and look at you in the eye and say that it was because it taught me humility. It taught me that stress was never going to get me anywhere. I had to release, I had to surrender. And one of the things that when I finally did a Dr. Joe week seminar and we did that very long meditation, one of the things that came up for me was that there is strength in the surrender. And that has been so powerful for me. The surrendering. This is where we find our strength. We don't find our strength from do, and that we're going to get more muscles and we're going to create more. We surrender and we trust and we have faith, and everything just seems to fall into place. It becomes magnetized to us. We create this magnet in the universe, in the unknown, and possibilities that we would have never in a million years have been able to actually articulate or create in our mind somehow seem to fall in our lap. And that's what I now live on. I live I tried my best, live in the unknown, live in the magic of the source. And whenever I try to grab that wheel, whenever I get angst, I just have to remind myself that source, unknown, God, universe, whatever it is that you like to call it, is a much better driver than me. And I have to let go of the wheel and just trust and go along on the ride. So I think what cancer did, in such a strange way, I found peace through cancer. And I'm able to release and just live. And to be able to live in peace, I think that's what we all are striving for. And to find that is I can't even describe it in words. It's just such an amazing feeling. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, I'm sure, Charo. And it doesn't go without tests. It doesn't go without challenges. It doesn't go without everything being perfect. But what I've learned through this is that I can use those tools that I learned to heal myself and I can apply them to every single situation. And the answer always turns out the same: surrender, release, trust, and just take one step.
That's a powerful formula. Love it. Okay, we have lots of hands now. Ikshit. Oh my God. So you know Ikshit. Ikshit is
Oh my
here.
God, my favorite. Oh my God. Everyone sings, they say they love my testimonial. I love your testimonial. Oh my God, it's my favorite.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. And every time I hear you, I'm in a different zone. So you speak so authentically, and your story has so much of power. Thanks for enlightening us with all those vulnerable things and the reality of your journey. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, Buffy's peeking in.
Oh my God. Hi, Buffy. That's his lovely wife, the meditation partner, partner in life. Welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, we got off the question.
Yeah. So I'm sure many people might have already asked you, and many people came up with this question to me as well. How to not time bound our healing? Because if doctor gave us a limited time frame that you have this much of time, how not to expect that healing in that particular time frame only? For example, if doctor says that you have 6 months to live, how not to expect that within 6 months I have to push myself and get that healing? How can we just get rid of that idea of bounding it with a time frame that we should be healed in this particular time only?
Yeah, and it's one of the things that upsets me the most with a lot of doctors out here is because they do put a time frame on it. And I think for a lot of people, they have a very difficult time once they hear that to get that out of their head. And unfortunately, and I've seen it all too often, a lot of times it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy. If you start focusing on that, what we focus is on, it multiplies. And so we it's hard, but we have to understand that those doctors are not God. Those doctors are talking about averages. They're talking about people in the a whole group setting. And when you start to look at things like that, then yes, you have these things, but we're not the average. We are not a bunch of people. We're an individual. We're one person. And we need to focus on that one person. And we have to get out of the conglomerate of everybody and anyone. And these doctors who are acting and talking like God, they don't know. Miracles happen every single day to people every single day all around the world. Why not? Why not have those miracles happen to you? Why not? Nobody else. I'm no special than anybody else. And things are happening. And if they can happen to me, they can happen to you. And that's what's so great about Dr. Joe's stories of transformation. That's what's so amazing about having these groups like this. Because when you start to talk to people that are having amazing things happen to them, then you get out of the idea that, oh my God, I'm just an average Joe living an average life that's going to die in this average amount of time. You start to realize that no, I'm not average. I'm effing divine. I am a miracle. I am powerful. I am strong. I am powerful. I am healthy. I am healed. And when you change the dialogue and when you change the mindset, it doesn't matter what that doctor says. It doesn't matter what my friend says. It doesn't matter what the averages says because none of it matters. All that matters is me in the moment with that thought in my head, taking that one step.
Wow, love it, Mark. Thank you. It carries so much of energy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Amazing. TJ, you're next.
Hi, Charu. Hi, Mark. Hi, everybody. Yes, I have like a couple of questions. The first one is that, like, not everyone is fortunate enough to discover Dr. Joe's work like Mark did. Some people will probably discover it much later. Like in my case, it's been a decade since I'm dealing with a health condition, like a health challenge. And it's possible that the body is already acclimatized to being in a certain way. Like I can't take stairs or I'm not mobile enough. So, how easy is it after a decade to change your thoughts? Even though I have been doing the work for since 2023 nonstop, I don't think I have missed many days of meditation either. But that's my first question that, if you've had it for a very long time, and obviously I was given a 5-year limit and I'm still here. So that's my first question. And I think I forgot my second question.
Well, I just think, I mean, obviously you're already beating the odds. They said you're there, but I think it's the mind. I think it really comes down to our thoughts. And what the meditation does is it helps us focus our thoughts and to make them more powerful in our bodies. But it's not the meditation so much. It's not that I'm doing these meditations. It's what the meditations are doing to our mind. Our minds and our bodies are powerful. They are more powerful than we will ever know. I mean, what's the stats right now? We use 10% of our mind. What can we do if we tap into that other 90%? No, I think personally, and it's hard, trust me, and I'm going to talk about another dark moment here soon, but I know that it's hard when you have these limitations. I know it's hard when you have doctors telling you these things. I know it's hard. But the more we can sit there and we can start to convince our mind and tell our minds, and I would tell myself all the time, it's okay to be a little bit delusional. I think we have to be a little bit delusional to get past that barrier. Because right now, no matter how much we're meditating and no matter how many thoughts we're trying to get through, if there's a little thin barrier of doubt, of, well, I don't know if this will happen. And maybe I can get to this point, but I don't know if I can get to that point. That thin layer of doubt, it stops. It stops our thoughts. We thought them and we think they're going in, but there's something stopping it. And what I think we got to get rid of that thin layer of doubt. We just have to eliminate it. Because when that gets eliminated, we get opened up to possibilities that never in a million years would have ever occurred. So for me to you, if I was talking to you, if we were coaching, I would say we just need to change our thoughts. We have to change the words that we speak. Because I heard you talk and there's never ever shame and there's never ever but I can already hear that you have a limited belief that you can go to this point, but that might be as far as you can possibly go. And I'm going to sit here and look at you in the eye with all the love that I can muster for you and tell you that that is not true. It's not true. You are powerful. You are loved. You are divine. And if other people can have miracles happen out of the blue, 10 years in the making, and bam, all of a sudden, why not you? Be a little delusional. Who cares? What does it matter what anybody thinks? Doesn't care what your family thinks and go, oh, you shouldn't think like that. You're just setting yourself up for heartache. Oh, why are you going to think like that? You need to accept. F accepting. You accept where you want to accept. And if you don't want to accept it, don't accept it. And if we go and we pass and we never achieved it, who effing cares? By then, we're off to our other journey, anyways. We're off to our next chapter. So be in as belief and disbelief as you want to be, but it's okay to be a little delusional. And I say, every ounce of thought you can muster to the divine, to the possibility, live there. Live there. Just do it. Let's get rid of the doubt and just do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
So my other question was that if you do come across, like, currently I'm going through a very big slump, like my levels are all over the place and I'm supposed to be on oxygen all the time, 16 hours a day and all of that. So when you do hit a slump like this, for the first time in 3 years, I felt like I don't want to meditate. I cannot hear Dr. Joe's voice. Like, it's just doing weird stuff to me anymore. So I just can't, like, I think the first time in 3 years, I didn't hear his voice for 2 days at a like it felt good. But then after hitting a slump like this, that everything is going perfect in life, and I'm 6 months, I have only been grateful. My life is amazing. Everything is perfect. My husband, my child, I shifted to a new country. Everything is perfect. And after that, why would something like this happen, Mark? Well, I have never been so happy.
I think this is a really good time to share with you what just happened to me. And here I am giving these talks, going on stage, talking about healing, talking about this amazing thing that happened to my life and that I beat pancreatic cancer. And 1 week ago, I get I get my scans back. And my scan says that there is progression of this cancer back again in my pancreas. And that has thrown me for a loop. And you want to talk about going back to the dark days. My soul, it stopped. I was like, I'm doing everything. I changed my life. I meditate. I'm all in. What is this possible? Why is this happening? And I was so distraught. And I was talking to Charo just yesterday. And I was in New York City for a job. And before that, for the last 2.5 years, I've seen the divine everywhere. I have been walking and I've been seeing sign after sign after sign. And I told Charo, my signs were the angel numbers. And it didn't matter if it was 111, 222, 444, 777. But when I saw those numbers, I just knew that I was being comforted, that I was on the right path, and everything was going right. And I get this reading of my scan, and it shows that my pancreatic cancer is back. And I went for a walk in New York City, and I could not find an angel number. I could not find a sign. I could not find anything anywhere. I was dark and I was alone. And I went to the Hudson River and I just cried and I bawled and I'm like, where did you go? Or do you not even exist? Was this all just made up in my head? Did I pretend that this was happening? Where are you now when I need you the most? And all of a sudden, my mind just went to the footprints in the sand. And I don't know that poem by heart, but it talks about and it's all about Jesus. And this has nothing to do with religion, Christianity, but it was talking, I related it to God. And they talk about all the times in our lives we walk in the sand and he saw two sets of footprints. And yet, on those times when it was the most trying, when it was the most hardest, he only saw one. And he was like, God, where did you go in this time when I need you the most? And he's like, silly, don't you know that in those times, I'm the one who's carrying you? And all of a sudden, it went back to I'm not alone. I got to go back to the beginning. I got to get back to what I truly believe. And I just need to start doing it from scratch. And I just sat in and I went back to the beginning and I went back to my belief system. And I'm like, how freaking hard is this to believe when I believed it so much in my brain and in my soul? I knew I was healed. How could this possibly have happened? But you know, when that belief is weak, we have to borrow somebody else's. And I had my wife, I had my family, and they were like, Mark, it's a bump in the road. It's something you will get over. We will just move forward. Let's do this. So I started to lean in on my wife's beliefs, on my family's beliefs, because I was shattered. I couldn't do it. And then I said, we got to, and I went back to my meditating 2 hours a day. I started getting back to my juicing and my salads, and I was doing all of the healing recipes. But the most important part was I got quiet and I got silent again. And in the quietness, in the unknown, I just adopted the idea that somewhere in the universe, somewhere in the quantum, somewhere, there's an answer to this problem. And I just lived in it and I've sunk in it and I meditated on it. And I went to the doctor just a couple days ago. And to be honest, I wasn't even going to do this call because I was like, how can I talk to these people? They all believe that I healed and now I'm not healed. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to say. And I went to the doctor and I just believed. I just trust. I'm like, whatever this bump in the road is, whatever it's supposed to be, it's my new journey. It's my new hump to get over. What is it, doc? What do we got to deal with? What do I got to do? And I kid you not, this doctor is going, I don't know if it's cancer. I don't know if this is really a tumor. I think it might be a cyst. And so I got a PET scan that I have to do, and that's going to be on Wednesday, and we're going to know whether it's cancerous or it's not. But you know, that possibility of it not even being cancer, I don't think could have ever have happened if I didn't get quiet, if I didn't go to the unknown, if I didn't put myself in a position where the unknown and the incredible possibilities could happen. I started doing this Dr. Joe synchronize your energy to health. And in there, it talks about an opportunity. Create an opportunity. And I didn't even know what this opportunity could be. But I was just silent. I was just quiet. And I allowed that opportunity to happen. Now, do I know 100% that it's not cancer? No. But you know what I do know now? I know that whether it's cancer or whether it's not, I am going to stay in the silence, in the unknown, and trust that my journey will happen one step at a time. And you know, TJ, it's okay to not like Dr. Joe. It's okay to not hear his voice. He is just one tool in many tools that you're going to gather for your toolbox. But I can promise you this. This I know is fact. You have questions, you have concerns, you have heartache and soreness and hurt and confusion, get quiet. I don't care how you have to do it, whether it's through Dr. Joe, whether it's a walk in the wilderness, whether it's on the beach, whether it's in your bed, whether it's in your house. But get quiet, TJ, and ask questions. And I'm sure that we have, and I'm sure that you're doing it, but I just know, I just know that everything that the universe, that God gives us is for the good. And whether it's a cancer diagnosis that is given back to me and I have to navigate it and get over it, or whether it's a cyst and I move on, I just know that this is the way. This is the answer to every problem that exists in the world. We have to get quiet, we have to trust, and we have to surrender. And it's not about quality, it's about quantity. And TJ, when you start sitting into the fact that you are alive today and you start being grateful for what you have in this moment, because no matter how bad you have it, there are so many people that have it worse. And just sit into the fact of how wonderful your life is compared to so many. And then figure out how you use that, those things that you have been given, those things you have been grateful for, all those gifts. How can you use that in service of somebody else? Use your gifts and help somebody else in their journey. And I can guarantee you, TJ, you will start forgetting about yours and you will somehow magically be okay.
And that's when the healing happens. You just got to forget about it. I feel like I've seen so many testimonials, so many things. You get so lost in all that you're doing and being that you just forget about the issue and it doesn't exist anymore. That was beautiful, Mark.
Sorry,
Thank you,
I
Mark.
feel like
Thank
I
you so
went on a
much.
very long rampage.
It was the perfect segue. Thanks to Tejal's question. Beautiful, absolutely powerful. Amisha, do you wanna wait? Were you in queue? Am I missing the queue? I'm sorry. No, Amisha, you're next. But before you, I have Victoria. Sorry, I'm trying to follow the queue here. Victoria, welcome.
Hi, Sharu. Yeah, Mark, sorry, I was jumping in late. But yeah, I heard about your story and I was just curious, like now that I know you talked about, the scam that just came up again, but now at the time just saying like that you healed by jumping into this unknown of making this decision to like heal yourself, what do you feel like you can do now that you feel like you couldn't do before? Like if you feel like you've healed this cancer, what else do you think that you can do now? And when you decided to do this, and making this decision, like, and knowing in your heart, soul, and mind, in your heart of hearts, you could do this, and that you had people telling you, like, no, you can't do this. Did you ever once also like tune into like their energy and their heart and think to yourself like they are in fear or they are in scarcity or they're in lack, to make that decision for yourself, like, all right, I know that they're not in the right state, and then you knew that you were in the right state at all. I just wanted to know more about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's crazy. After I healed and I was living this life, I'm like, what else can we manifest? What else can we create? And I've been digging in that. And Victoria, my life has changed so incredibly. I mean, and I don't know if I talked about this as much, but when I was on this couch, and it's the couch that I'm talking to you from right now, I was watching those Dr. Joe stories of transformation. And I was just in my head, I was like, one day I'm going to be on that stage. And I was. And then I remember I came to Dr. Joe because of this documentary Heal and Heal with Kelly. There's a podcast with Kelly Noonan Gores who created that documentary Heal. And I'm like, one day I'm going to be on her podcast. And I was just on her podcast. And I read the book Dying to Be Me by Anita Morjani. And when I closed that book, I told my wife, I said, I need to meet this woman. I need to meet her. And I just like 3 months ago had lunch and coffee with her and her husband. I'm like, so many things are manifesting in my life. And I'm like, we are powerful beyond all means. And where we focus our attention, where we focus our energy, is where we start to vibrate, and that's what we attract. And this is what I believe. I believe that everything is frequency, everything is vibration, and vibration and like vibrations attract one another. And what is our job then? Our job is to vibrate at the most highest frequency that we can, and then attract exactly those things that we want in our life. And I know that it's possible. And this is what I believe is now happening. I have learned how to raise my vibration through Dr. Joe's work, through getting quiet, and just creating this enormous amount of energy that runs through my veins, that gets pushed out into the world. And now I am just sitting there like a kid and at Christmas, just waiting for all these gifts to come. And I'm like, "Ooh, what are you gonna give me next? What's around the corner?" And we all have that ability. But you know what? When we start to doubt, when we get fear, when stress starts to come in, it changes our vibration. And our vibration moves from high frequency to low frequency. And all of a sudden we're vibrating, but we're vibrating very low. And then all of a sudden we hit traffic and we get in a car accident and taxes come due. And all of a sudden it's like, why me? Woe is me, because why are all these things happening? Because everything is frequency and everything is coming at the vibration that we are vibrating at. And so just move our frequency, change the frequency. And if we don't like what we're getting, change it. Let's just change it. And the first place it changes is our thoughts, because nothing moves without thinking about it first. So no matter how bad the situation is, no matter how horrible it comes, we have to believe that we have the power to change it. And then we just do. And I have to correct myself because I have Miss Buffy over here going, "You said quantity over quality. It's quality over quantity."
Oh, wives.
She did catch that. That was actually a good call because I was like, I think that's Mark meant it the other way around. But thank you.
Yes.
Well, Mark, on that last note, actually, and we'll get to you, Sanjana and Amisha, but somebody has a question that I think is related to that at the bottom. Kamala, she says, what if the family's belief is not what you're looking for? Then who to borrow from? Because, you talked about borrowed belief.
Yeah. I think that's where the Dr. Joe community, and you find your people. Those people exist. And we don't have to discard our family. We don't have to deny them. But one of the things that I believe that I did is I told everybody I went into this healing bubble. And in my healing bubble is when I practiced my healing recipe. And I had a lot of people that were doomsayers, and they felt horrible for me, and they were so sorry that I was going through this. And I love those people, and I know they had good hearts, but they were not allowed in my bubble. They had to stay out of my bubble. The only people that I allowed in my bubble were the people that were manifesting what I wanted to manifest. You had to believe that curing was possible. You had to believe that healing was possible. You had to be on that train, or I had to get you off. And so just because our family might not believe it, that's okay. Love them. But tell them right now, in my life, in this journey, in this chapter, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put myself in this little bubble, and that's where I have to live. I mean, that's why I turned off the news. The news was destroying me. The news was no longer allowed in my bubble. And so create your bubble and put in there the things that will help you and leave out all the things that won't. And then all you are surrounded with, you have a capsule and you're surrounded by goodness, by love, by strength, by energy, by positivity, by joy, and all of that other stuff, negative, disbelief, they're just going to hit the bubble and bounce off.
Oh, that's powerful. Kamla, I hope that was a response that you loved. Yes, she loved it. Okay. And
Much. I
I will,
really appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, and I will add to that that as a woman, I can relate to the fact that I think we like it when there is support around us in our families. And it's really difficult when they're not on the same page. But I think that's also our job as women to teach ourselves that self-sufficient in that way and that it's okay to find support outside of family. There should be no guilt or pressure um, or sadness that the family is not supporting. They're just not, they're 5 steps behind you. They'll get there. When you heal and create a miracle, they'll be like, oh my God, never believed it. Now I do. So you're the leader. Keep going.
Yes.
Amisha, welcome.
Hi, thank you, Sharu. And I'm so grateful for you, Mark. I mean, your energy and the things you're saying, I am relating to so many things, like 24 hours, living for the 24 hours, and creating this bubble and keeping people on your frequency rather than you coming down to other people's frequencies. And consciously choosing things that you want to consume in terms of news and media. So grateful for all of the things that you've shared. It's really, really helpful. So my question was around, how do you recognize where you are surrendering, whether you are surrendering or you're giving up? So there's a difference. Like sometimes you recognize it, but sometimes like I just leave it up to you. You just do whatever. So sometimes that also feels like you're giving up. So how do you recognize that true surrender? Where does that come from? And how do you tap into that? Like you talked about surrendering. So I would like you to expand a little bit. How does that look for you in everyday life where things are difficult, like you said about last week as well? So how do you still be able to build that trust and keep on surrendering to the higher power? So,
Yeah. And God, universe, they want to help us. And there's ways that we can understand. And I was right there just weeks ago. I'm like, what am I going to do? And when you give up, when you give in, when surrendering is not from a height of power, when it's from I have nothing left to do, I'm just at the whim of whatever's going to happen, our energy is depleted. You feel low. You feel sad. You feel depressed. You feel angst. But when I started to surrender to the what ifs, when I started to surrender, maybe this is part of the journey, maybe it's part of the story, maybe it's going to deepen my story. When I started to surrender to that, I started to feel energized. I started to feel powerful. I started to feel happy. I started to feel joy. And I think that's the barometer. That's the temperature. That's the gauge. When we have to touch in and tune into how we are feeling. If we feel low, if we feel depressed, if we feel horrible, we're vibrating very low and we're giving in. But when we're feeling energized, when we're feeling happy, when we're feeling joyful, when we know that we're surrendering to a higher power, knowing that it's going to take us to the next step that it wants for us. So I think we just have to tune in to our vibration. We have to tune into how we're feeling. Are we sad or are we happy? And if we're happy, you know you're doing it right. And if you're sad, you know that you need to do a little more work because it's all about happiness. It's about joyfulness. And I'm not saying that you have to live this life on this thing where you can't feel emotion. We have to feel our emotion, but we can't stifle it and we can't deny it. But we have to come through it and let it out and then get to the next level. We can't let it bury us. And so, Amisha, I think for you, just get in touch with that gauge. When you surrender, how do you feel? If you feel bad, you're giving up. If you feel good, you're giving in.
I love that. And that's such a great barometer to gauge like how you're feeling. Sometimes you do all of these things and then you said, now I just it's up to you. But then it's it may not be coming from a place of higher vibrations or higher emotions. So that's a really good barometer. Thank you so much, Mark. And more power and love to you. You're such a light to the world, and I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. And I just wanted to share one more thing because I think it helps. And when we're getting down and we're depressed and we're feeling like nothing is working for us, we can get into this track of woe is me and what am I going to do? And I think one of the quickest ways and one of the ways to kind of stop that from happening is to find someone else that we can help. Who can we talk to? Not because we want to talk to them for us. How can we talk to them for them? Because we got to take the spotlight off us once in a while. And once it becomes off us and it goes to somebody else, we may discover something in them that we can apply to us. We might find an answer, but even if we don't find an answer, we need to sometimes get out of our angst, get out of our agony, get out of our pain, and help somebody else in theirs. Because I truly believe it's through service that we also can find the answers within and help and guidance and stuff that will benefit us as well. And we don't do it for us, but that's the benefit of doing something for someone else. I truly believe that.
Yes, and I have realized this in my life as well. So earlier, when I was battling with the condition, I used to be so obsessed with every symptoms I were getting in the body. And once I started taking off that, and being a part of the community, we have a community in India. So being a part of that community and conversing with people, that just changed my energy like that. So yeah, it's definitely really helpful for you to be in service of others. So yeah, really love that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then kudos to you for just Charo and Farzana for creating this community so that people can have a place to reach out and to talk and connect with one another. I don't know if you guys do, if you just come on here, but make friends with one another, not just Farzana and Charo. You'll be crazy. And things happen in numbers because when we start to raise the energy for ourselves, and then that energy starts to transition to someone else, now we got more ripples in the pond. And those ripples, those sooner or later will start to create waves. And those waves, we make a difference not only for ourselves, but for the entire community and for the entire world. So just continue to build upon each other, help each other, be of service of one another, and stay in the community. It really is powerful.
Yes, and this is where you can borrow all the beliefs that you want that are not in the family and in the friend circle. You come to people here, and what one, we get you, we get each other. We really understand what the work is, and I think that's the other thing. If you've done it, then you know. And when a person like Mark or Victoria or Amisha or Ikshit, when these people speak, we know that they are doing the work. They are overcoming. So I think their words carry a different weight and can be very important to change the energy.
And I also wanted to add, because I think this is important, and it was a lesson for me as well. I was so, like I said, I felt almost like a failure. I felt like, oh my God, how can I go talk to these people when I claimed I had this healing and then there's this possibility of this coming back. And the more I got quiet, because I do what I say, I practice what I preach, I started to understand that healing doesn't mean that you are forever without problems. Healing does not mean that you're never going to have another diagnosis, that you're not going to have another tumor, another bump in the road. But what healing does, healing creates tools and it creates a system that if I can do it once, I can do it again. And so I have all these tools. I have a toolbox. And that's exactly what I went back to. And now all of a sudden, look at how much quicker things started to happen. This is what we learn. This is the lesson. So when we heal, when we overcome something, let's relish in that. But let's take in what did we use to do that? And then we can apply it to our next problem, our next issue, and hopefully they'll resolve themselves so much quicker because we now have the ability, we have that tool. And it's like Dr. Joe says, once you understand you can do it once, then you can do it over and over and over again.
Wait, this is really funny what's happening in the chat. So somebody asked about your 7 ingredient recipe, right? And then Miss TJ went and even like told her what it was. Like, this is catching fire, Mark.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So do you want to speak to it a little bit?
Yeah. So my healing recipe, um, there's 7 ingredients, and I think it applies to not only healing cancer, but to living life. And it starts with belief. That belief, you have to believe that healing is possible. And if your belief is shattered like mine just was, you borrow somebody else's. You find a community like this, you read books, you watch stories of transformation, you find something that's going to help build your belief because it's the dough of the pizza. If you don't believe you can heal, if you don't believe you can change, you can do all the other things and nothing sticks. You got to have the dough so that the ingredients, that the vegetables, the pepperoni, whatever you like on your pizza sticks to it. And then the next one is meditation. Meditation is so powerful. And no particular meditation, I gravitated to Dr. Joe. But what I believe the meditation does is it gets us to the stillness. It gets us to the quiet where I believe every answer lies. And we stop worrying about the shoulda, woulda, couldas and the what ifs and maybes, and we sink into the present. We sink into that 24-hour moment and what can we do in that time frame? And that's where we're all supposed to live. That's when magic can happen. Magic's never going to be happening replaying the past or spinning the future. Magic is only going to occur when you sit into the present moment. And then it's about spirituality. Spirituality is my third ingredient. And I think we have to have know that we have a team player inside of us, that we're not alone, that we have somebody else rooting for us, that's guiding us, that we can take our hands off the wheel and trust that they're going to guide and drive this train that much better. And I always tell people that aren't spiritual, the ones, because I have a lot of friends that are atheists, that are agnostics, and they don't believe in any of this. And how do I talk to them? And I talk to them about instinct. I go, there's no way you can deny that you have an instinct, something that keeps you from driving on the wrong side of the road, something that pulls you back from the edge of the cliff. There's that something inside of us, that instinct that wants to keep us alive, that wants to keep us going, that wants to keep us there. So we can get quiet and we can tune into that. And when we tune into that, that's what I believe is going to give us the answer to the next step. And then we have to increase our positivity. Increase positivity, it's the fourth ingredient. We have to live like we're going to live forever, but we're going to do it all today. And we're going to have quality over quantity. I got it right, Buff. Quality over quantity. And we got to prepare. And we have to live like and be happy and joyful. And what are those things that make you joyful? Do them. Stop waiting for having enough money. Stop waiting to feel good. Stop waiting to have a partner that's going to do it with you. If something's going to make you happy in this world, go and effing do it, because that joy is going to create vibration. It's going to create frequency, and you're going to attract more of it. And then the fifth thing is stress. Stress, I think, is one of the leading cause to cancer in our environments and all this stuff. We have so much stress coming in, stress from the mind, stress from the toxins in our environment, stress from the food that we eat. And so we start eliminating stress. We start eating better food. We start walking in nature. We start breathing better air. We start filtering our water. We turn off the news. We put those family members that don't believe the way we do outside of our bubble. And we start to eliminate these stressful moments in our life. Because what I've learned is we will never heal in stress mode. We only heal when our body feels safe, when our body is ready for reset, for repair, for rejuvenation, and that only happens in safety. And we have to get out of fight and flight. And then the next is diet and exercise. Diet is so important. We have to treat our bodies like the temple that they are. We can't expect it to do magical, wonderful things if we're going to feed it crap. We have to give our temple nutrition. And it's hard these days because even when we're eating healthy, the nutrients aren't in the soil. So we have to be diligent, and we have to understand, and we have to treat our bodies with respect. We can't go out there and drink all night, party all night, sit on the couch eating bonbons, watching the news. We're never going to get to a magical divine place if that's how we're treating ourselves. So we have to eat right, and then we have to move. Exercise. It's the seventh ingredient. Movement is so powerful. And I talked about this a few times, but our lymphatic system, it's our natural detox system. But unlike our blood, it does not move like our blood moves because we have a heart and it pumps us through our body. Our lymph, our natural detox, it only moves if we move. You can get it to move by breathing, but the best way to get it to move is by exercising. And then that lymph moves, it goes and gets rid of all those toxins. It goes to our lymph nodes. That's where our immune cells live. It detoxifies, and then we get it through our sweat, through our waste, and we get rid of it. So exercise, so important. Not only that, but it creates our endorphins. It creates more serotonin, which creates a higher frequency, and it all becomes this circular thing. So the more you do that on a daily basis, the better you're going to feel, the better you're going to deal with your problems, and the better you're ever going to be in the best possible position to heal.
Wow. Love it.
It's a lot, I know.
It's great. I also like took notes and put it in the chat. So if somebody missed something, you can follow it. And of course, Mark, we will share all the links to all the goodness that Mark is bringing to the world, and the healing recipe can be found there. But there are more questions. Okay. Nandini, thank you for your inspirational words and speech, Mark. What would you say for a person who is on the healing journey of her children and has a lonely journey?
It's so tough. So are the children ill? Are the kids sick? And we're trying to care for somebody else? Is that true?
I think so. Nandini, do
Okay.
you feel like coming? You don't have to be on video.
Yeah, sorry. I was just cooking something. I just heard your question. Yeah, my children, yeah, they are diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. So I'm on the healing journey. I mean, I'm doing meditations. I'm trying to do walking meditations with them, and then I'm in the journey of healing, and it's been the doctors, family are not quite supportive, and it's been a lonely journey for me. So, though I am interacting with this beautiful community, and it does, I am overcoming so many things now. So it's been better now, but still, I thought that it would be great if I hear it from Mark.
No.
That could be a great boost for me.
Uh, First of all, I just want to send you so much love and support. And Nadine, I don't ever want anyone to feel alone. That hurts me more than anything. And Nandini, let's exchange our informations, and you have a new bestie. I will be your bestie, and we can talk and we can communicate. I want to be there every step of the way. And I work with children, and it's the hardest thing to see a child suffer. So my heart breaks for you. But it's interesting. It starts with a reflection, I believe. And children, they're sponges. They are just these little amazing sponges. And they receive more by who you are and what your reflection than by anything you're ever saying. And so it starts with us. And the more you believe, the more that you can trust and keep staying on this journey. They may or may not know this, but they're borrowing your belief. And it starts there. And the more they borrow your belief, it will start to strengthen theirs. This is a little bit above their comprehension right now. It's tough, but it can exist, and it can come through you just being this beautiful soul and you creating a vibration that is so high that it's almost impossible for them not to connect with and start vibrating with. So I say we start with ourselves, and then I'm just getting into this whole coherence healing. um, I'm new to all of it as well as I was all into myself. But if we can do it to ourselves, we can do it to others. And it transpires through its energy. It goes everywhere and it's all encompassing. So we can heal and we can heal others and we can heal others through community. And so and if we have to, let's do a little coherence healing here in this community for your children. And let's just start putting energy towards that. And we start there. And maybe it's not this ginormous thing that they're going to overcome instantaneously. But if they can start to take more steps, if they can have still a little bit more belief, if they can start to feel a little more powerful, I think it's a win. And we're going to start there. And we're going to change our own vibration. And I think right now, for you, just the fact that you said it, I know you feel it. And the fact that you feel alone breaks my heart. And I don't want you to feel alone anymore. So I need you to take up my words when I say we are besties and we're going to be there and let's talk to one another, because just by you not being alone, not feeling alone, you have already started to change your vibration. And that is going to change in your children, and it's going to change in your own personal life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's like the universe saying a message to me. Thank you. I'm so honored to hear this out. And I've also listened to so many people who have healed so many mothers healing their children. That was so inspirational. And yeah, there have been a lot of improvements in their activities, in their mobility. And I have been seeing some results. I'm just being more and more positive. I'm just curious, staying curious to see what's next. And then, yeah, I'm just in this healing journey, blindly surrendering. And yeah, thank you so much, Mark.
And seriously, Nandini, I'm telling you, that lonely feeling, and we all experience. I just told you I had one of the darkest nights. We got to
Yeah,
go get quiet and know that you're not alone. I want you to feel love. I want you to feel if I could give you the most enormous hug right now, I want you to feel
oh,
that. I
yeah,
want you to feel it in your bones, because this is going to change your vibration, and the vibration is going to catch on to your children. Know that. It is not delusional. You are not alone in this journey. You will find more people. That, I think, is the first and foremost. I want you to change that vibration of feeling alone to feeling held, supported, and heard, because you are.
yeah. Thank you so much. I already feel your love, and I would definitely take this forward in my healing journey. And I'm so happy I've got a bestie. Thank you so much, Mark. I'm
Yes.
so elated. Thank you.
You have you have 39 besties now on this call.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Aru.
You know, I don't know if Ikshit is able to speak. Ikshit, if you're not here, I'll just share on your behalf. But Ikshit had said something, and Ikshit has this amazing testimonial. But you know, he
Yeah,
recently shared, Mark, that oh, sorry, I thought somebody was saying something. He had recently shared that when he was very young and when he was told by the doctor that this and that, blah, 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 is happening and your life is limited and blah, 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 he had shared what his mother had said to him. And I'm just paraphrasing, and his mother had said, well, you know, this is happening. And Ishit was like, no, no, like, why me? And she said, because you have a big purpose.
wow.
And, you know, I just was like looking at who Ikshit is today, because I hold him in very high regard. But that child that he was, I think that was like a really strong borrowed belief from the mother that said, this
Yeah,
is going to be your greatest, the greatest gift. And it is.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's your power.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also have, I have thought I have a purpose, and I really have set this purpose of my life that I wanted to change every child who is going through this condition, and that has become my vision now. I'm on it. I am going to do it, and I'm
There is no doubt in any of these 39 people, we are rooting for you. You're going to do it. And one day we will look back on this call and find that recording and say, this is where she said she was going to do it.
wow.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you
Beautiful.
guys. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Charu, for putting it. And Nandini, just to add what Charu said, recently I was at IAMD, Indian Association of Muscular Dystrophy, and there were many parents with small kids with particular this ailment. And I had a special session with all the parents. So I just want to share a small thing from that session. What I told parents to parents was that your belief will cure your kid,
Mm.
because kids are very innocent. They are even not aware if they're having a disease or like something challenging with them. Whatever is happening with them, they're considering it as normal. It's your mind that is taking
Yeah.
it like making it very serious, and because you know that it's a disease. So if you will be having that strong belief that it's okay, it's normal, he is healthy, and it is curable, that vibrations will reach out to him, and that will ultimately cure him. So
Mhm.
they don't have that logical mind yet to
Yeah.
believe, or in like to believe negatively. Whatever you will believe, he will borrow that belief. So even you not saying this, but your energy will shift everything. That's what my parents did, and that's what exactly had an impact on me. I was never considered special or something like I lack. I was treated very normally from very beginning, and that ultimately created this impact. So try to create such environment at your home that everything is very normal. He is very healthy. Don't treat him otherwise. Don't treat him very special or nothing. Treat him as he is. He can do many other things that even so-called normal people cannot do, can do. So please take this like as a cue. And I know you are already very positive. So you can do that and you can shift this energy.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. Thank you, Ikshit. Thank you so much. Yeah, I do treat them as normal as possible. I always give them the positive belief, the environment set so that they don't feel, and they are actually more positive than me. They keep telling me that I can do it, I can do it. Why are you? No, I'm strong. I can do it. No ways, I can do it. There's nothing that is going to set us back. They keep instilling that belief in me. So they are so supportive, I should say. Thank you so much, Ikshit. And I am so blessed to talk to you. Thank you so much.
you. Thank you.
Amazing. Shalini, you've been waiting for a long time. You go next.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for this amazing session. Charo, I don't miss any of your podcasts. I sleep while listening to your podcast. That's the only time I get now at night. So
No,
I
I
put it
put you
on
to
and I
sleep.
listen to it. Yeah, I do fall asleep halfway through, and then I remember where I reached up to, and then I catch up on another night. So that's how I go. Yeah, but thank you. And Farzana, thank you so much for all these amazing sessions and bringing all these gems. And Mark, you're just amazing. I listened to to your podcast with Charu, and it's beautiful. If you were a teacher here giving us an exam paper to write at the end of this session, there was gonna be no way anyone would fail. Is the tone, the energy you speak, and the way you explain is just so beautiful, and yeah, it's amazing. I've got a quick question, and that's just for me. It's if from the time you started, and sorry if I missed, if you already mentioned it. So from the time you started meditating, doing Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditation up until now, has there been any point like you've stopped for any reason, or have you always been meditating consistently?
I was very consistent in the beginning. I was doing those 2 hours a day. Um,
Yeah.
Up until recently, I was still doing at least an hour a day. It would either be in the morning when I woke up or right before going to bed. Very rarely did I miss. Um, we also have a little community. I'll be doing it a little later today here in Santa Monica. We do a whole Dr. Joe Dispenza walking meditation. And I had never done a walking meditation until I had done the event. And there was something so powerful about those walking meditations. And then we add the beach and the ocean. It's pretty magical. And for me, it is now, it's like it's my nourishment. It's my food. It's like I wouldn't go without eating for a day. I almost can't go without doing the meditation. It is so now ingrained in my lifestyle. And when I do miss it, it's like missing a meal. I'm hungry for it. And I do different ones and I try to figure out which ones do. I don't, I try not to get too specific. I feel like I'm doing the one I'm supposed to be doing. Um, but yeah, and I know there's other modalities of meditation, and I've thought about testing those, but there's just something about Dr. Joe. I relate, it works. I cannot vibrate now. I mean, I cannot meditate now without vibrating. I vibrate so immensely when I meditate. And it's crazy. I can almost feel as if I'm healing something or if it's trying to tell me something. It's almost as if I have a North Star. I know it sounds insane, but if I'm on the road and I'm driving, I'll start vibrating. And there's a reason I'm supposed to vibrate. It's either that I'm supposed to look over and I see 444 on a building that's telling me that there's my angel number and I'm okay, or that I need to watch out because there's an accident going out. I truly do believe I am being guided. And I think that's because of this ongoing practice of meditation. It has become a lifestyle for me. And and I love it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's only reason I'm asking this question is because I've kind of stopped meditating, not because I wanted to stop. It's just because I've struggled to find time, to be honest. And I know that's just in my head. I don't have time. I've got a little baby to look after, and now I'm back to work, and it's more challenges my way, juggling my child, the household, and my full-time job. But I really want to get back to meditation, and that's not out of fear of having a disease or anything of that sort. That's mainly to keep my life balanced out in all areas, like and function in the best way possible. Yeah, so that was the only reason, and I just wanted like what would. And I want to go back to Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation, not any other meditation. Just wanted to check with you whether you've got a piece of advice for me, please. Probably I know the answer, and then you told me like meditation has become your food, and this is how I feel, and that's why I'm asking you the question. Otherwise, probably I wouldn't care about meditation, and I would just move on with life and however it unfolds. But it's very important for me as well. I don't feel alive without it.
Yeah, I think when it starts to become a lifestyle is when it starts to really change, and it affects our lives in different times in different places, but we're protected. And just like you wouldn't go through a day without eating, you wouldn't go without brushing your teeth or doing all these things. Just we got to find the time to put that into the routine. And everything is figure outable. Every problem has a solution. And it doesn't make it easier, but we can make the time. And if you feel better, and when you start to do it and you feel better, that's when it starts to correlate. It's the same thing with exercise. I hate exercising. It's something I don't want to do, but I feel so much better after I do. And right now, it goes back to that gauge. How are we feeling during our day? Because when we feel bad, when we feel low energy, we're vibrating on a lower frequency and we're going to attract lower frequency stuff. But when we set up our day and we make the time and we change that frequency, we're now set up for a day full of magic and surprises. I was just watching a small documentary and I just ordered the book, but it's called The Miracle Morning. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's called The Miracle Morning. And this guy does all five of these things, almost all of them. I just heard it, but it's meditation, it's exercise, it's being outside. There's two more, but he does these five things in the first hour of the morning, and he gets up at 5 a.m. because he has to start his day. So you got to figure out when you can start that day, but he crams it all in, and it sets his day up on a whole new frequency, and miracles can happen that way. So if it's something that you want to get into, if it's something that you're vibing to, that's your soul saying, I need this. I want this. Please bring it back into our lives. So I know it's hard with a baby, but figure it out. And if you can't do all the crazy hour, do little bits, baby
Yeah.
steps. It's not about all or nothing. And that's a lot of times we feel. We're like, oh, well, I didn't do it in the morning. I might as well can't do it. Baby's napping, you meditate while baby's napping or whatever the
Yeah,
case
I've
may
been
be.
doing that, but I've been dozing off during the meditation. I've tried
Yeah.
many times, I've dozed off. And then it makes me not unhappy, but I feel like the meditation hasn't been fruitful enough for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't be a perfectionist, Shalini. Give yourself grace. I think that's what Mark is trying to say. Like, just do what you can and keep going. And then as it balances out, you'll get back to your longer meditations. And even a
Yeah.
little bit
Exactly.
of something good is good.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Oh my God, Sam is here. Sam was our guest last month, Mark. Sam is
Oh,
an
wow.
amazing theta healer, and she does many other cool things and is a Dr. Joe person. Farzana, I know you raised your hand before Sam, but can I go with Sam and then come back to you? Okay.
And
Thank
just to
you. Yeah.
quickly say that there's about 5 minutes left to 2 hours. So just giving you a heads up on time.
Okay,
It
I'm
went
gonna hurry
fast.
up. So thank you. Thank you for being here, Mark. You're amazing. Your energy is so uplifting and it's so infectious. And I'm very grateful that you take the time to share your story. Your testimonial went viral. All my friends were talking about it. It was really moving. And I think it's something very special about your energy that uplifts the room. So thank you for doing that.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, I also really love what you said about the soul and that the soul is always listening and that there is a truth behind every challenge and that it's about tuning into that truth and listen for what the message is, what is the lesson here. So I think that's so beautiful. And then during the podcast, you also mentioned that you would say the affirmation, I'm healthy, I'm powerful, I'm healed all the time, all day. And I was really curious how you would remember to say that affirmation. How did you monitor your vibration?
For me, it became such a habit. And I was saying it over and over again. And I think I did it selfishly. The more I said it, the more I felt better. And I remember I was doing it a little bit, and this was very early on in my diagnosis. And it's when they ended up putting that metal stent in my body, and my body rejected it. And I ended up in the hospital. It was 104-degree fever. I had all this infection inside of me. And that was my mantra. No matter how sick I was, I just in my head, I am strong, I am powerful, I'm healthy, I'm healed. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm healthy, I'm healed. And I just repeated it. And every time I'd get a little nudge of pain or sickness, it just like sparked it. I was like, okay, I gotta say it. And I just said it again. And now it's everywhere. And I truly believe that sets our mind up. Those mantras, those thoughts that we're putting into our head. A belief is just a thought you think over and over again. Like Dr. Joe says, you want to change those beliefs, you have to change those thoughts. And the quickest way you start changing those thoughts are you change the words that you speak. And so instead of speaking anything negative, No matter, I would try to catch myself. Oh my God, that hurts. Instead of saying that hurts or I'm in pain or I feel like crap, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm healthy, I'm healed. Because when we're in pain, when we're in agony, and it's not to deny it, but that's the body taking control of the mind. And if we follow Dr. Joe's advice, we need the mind to take back control of the body. And we can either wake up in the morning and the body tells us how we feel, or we can wake up in the morning and tell the body how it's going to feel. And I chose the latter. And that mantra has stuck with me. And I still say it probably 100 times a day.
I love that. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
beautiful. I loved it too. Farzana?
Thank you. That was really beautiful question, Sam. Thank you. Mark, I noticed something about your personal success story because when we met on Zoom a couple months ago now, I think, you eat, sleep, breathe, and think about a happy, joyful, positive life. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. And you were in another room where I said, "What's posted all behind you on the wall?" And you have all these little pieces of paper posted in the back of your wall, and you said, this is artwork, and it's our positivity wall, and you have a positivity house. And it made me realize that you don't focus on the healing, you focus on the vision beyond the vision. And that's probably where your personal success comes from, because you didn't use the word healing or the word cancer one time when you were talking about that wall, and you just lit up. You were so vibrant. And that's what it's really about, because I think when we're focused on the one thing and then we get that thing, we kind of forget, we go back to life. But you're always focused on that vision beyond the vision. So I just wanted to say, like, you are such a true inspiration, such a true inspiration. And you really do vibrate like what you speak. And I want to say thank you so much. You shared so much with us. And
Uh,
I know for me personally, I'm going to go back and rewatch this replay again and again. There's just so many gems. I started writing them down. And I thought, I'm just going to be very present and listen. And you've just been so magnificent. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just have to talk about that wall for a second. Most of it came from the children that I work with. And kids have an imagination and they think about possibilities. And not one child wrote or drew me a picture saying, "I'm so sorry for your illness. I'm I'm so sorry that you're going through this. I'm so sorry," or "Oh, my heart goes out to you," or "I bleed for you." And so often adults, that's the message that we're sending. These were kids that said, "No, dude, you got this. Let's go. Let's do it. You're a superhero. We're going to get better and we're going to have more fun together." The energy that from a child's perspective completely changes everything. And that's what I put on my wall. And when I went through this last spout of darkness, the wall, it's still up. And I'm looking at it and I'm telling you, laugh every day, believe, love is all you need, prayer, finish strong, goals, I beat it, look for joy, hope. There is nothing but good, joyful, positive energy in that. And those kids, there was frequency and a message in each and every one of those. And that's why it's up. And that's why I'm vibrating. And I have no doubt that's why I healed. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, and if somebody here has not seen the positivity wall, I'll tell you to go to the video podcast episode because I made sure that there are visuals of this amazing positivity wall, and you will be so inspired to see it. It's in the episode. Amazing. Did I miss any questions in the chat? Okay. Ooh, I have one. I have a note. Well, there's a lot of love for you in the chat, but my mother is also here And she says, Mark, you're unbelievable. Your high energy inspires me a lot. I almost feel like editing her comment, but I'm just going to go with it. I'm a patient of liver cirrhosis, trying to heal through meditations. Your story motivates me even further. Keep inspiring the world. I will definitely follow your 7 ingredients recipe. This is my dear mother. And I always tell her that instead of saying, I'm a patient of liver cirrhosis, you have to say, I'm healing it.
Yes. No, and vocabulary is so important, and I find myself even catching it. And once we change the vocabulary, we change the words we say. Those words start to change the way we think. Those thoughts start to change the way we believe. Those beliefs start to change our behaviors, and those behaviors start to change who we ultimately become. That is the process. That is the system. And when we just follow that, we will all be okay.
Yes. Wonderful. Maybe coming from non-family, this will hit better. Amazing. Anyone else who has a question that okay, awesome. There's a lot of love in the chat, but if there is anyone whose questions were missed, please let me know. We are on time mark, and I kind of want to let Farzana go before I say goodbye to you. So Farzana, do you want to just lead with it?
Oh, sure. I didn't want to take anything away from Mark, but I want to make sure everybody knows our next live session date is June the 20th, Saturday at 9 a.m. And we're going to have this beautiful creature who just spoke to us right now, Victoria Pham, join us. So Victoria, just give us a wave so everyone can see you. We'll be posting her testimonial, very similar to Dr. Joe. This is the second person who I now have heard who broke her spine and chose not to do surgery because she remembered the voice of Dr. Joe. So not to take anything away from Mark and Buffy, we'd love to see you in June. You're now part of the family. You're in the Facebook group and you'll keep getting the invitations. And so just wanted to quickly mention that, but not to take anything away from Mark. Thank you, Charu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I feel like, Mark, there is always like 5 hours worth of conversations that we try to pack in like a podcast episode or these 2 hours. I can't believe that it's 2 hours. We spoke yesterday about how things can change in a moment, and how we respond to it is really evidence of who we have become. And I know that with what you have on your plate right now, with what each of us has on our plates right now, it's not really about changing the obstacle. It's not really about, oh, why me? It's about why not me? Because I am divine and I can do it. And I feel like I had some air pumped into my lungs yesterday after chatting with you and just noticing that, yeah, indeed, there is a lot of growth in myself from where I started to where I am now. And you made me have that reflection. And I just wanted to share that with everybody here, that we often don't put enough kind, loving attention on how much progress we have made on ourselves in this journey. When we started, how little we could meditate, how much more we can do now, how much deeper we can go, and what we have been able to create. And so that was one big takeaway for me personally yesterday. And then today, of course, I think your energy is proof of your belief in yourself and the divine. And it's really nourishing to receive that. And also really nice from a solid guy to get this, because I feel like we need more men like you in this world. And it's so inspiring to just have people like you be so open and transparent, vulnerable, happy, and just sharing what it is, like how it is. I love that you're so real and open with what the little obstacle you have right now that you will beat. And then we will have another call and we'll be like, we beat it. What's next? So thank
Yes.
you. Thank you for being you.
Aw. Charles, thank you so much. And being on that stage and sharing that testimony opened up so many doors. And I thought what I was doing was that I was sharing my win. But what that actually and ultimately is doing is giving people the proof that they too can win. And that in the end was all I ever wanted to do. And I get a little emotional. And I might have said this on the podcast, but when I got diagnosed, I was so overwhelmed with so much information. There was so much information and I didn't understand any of it. It was all new. They were speaking in language I didn't understand. And I was very lucky. I have a large family, I have a lot of friends, and I have a community. And my heart just went to breaking for those that had to go through this all alone. And it said to myself right then and there, if I make it through this, I'm going to spend the rest of my life helping and sharing and helping people navigate through the noise, help them curve that learning curve just a little bit and make this journey just a little bit easier. So the ability that I'm able to come on this episode for a community that you guys created and share and hopefully help a little bit, it's my honor, it's my privilege, and I truly believe it's my purpose. Thank
Oh
you.
my God. Big, big hugs to you and so much love and hearts from around the world. Wow, Mark, you are amazing. If people want to just like have more of you and just come to you when they're feeling dark and need inspiration, how do they find you?
Right now, the best way is through Instagram. Reach out, send me a DM. I do my best to reach out and talk to people. If you have to send me another one, you're not hounding me. Um, I'm trying to talk to everybody. I'm putting together my own healing recipe guide, little starter guide. I'm working on my book. So hopefully that's going to be around the corner. I'm doing more talks. So I'll just keep everybody connected. You can go ahead and sign up for my little healing recipe guide that gives me your email, and that way you're in the loop for anything new that I'm putting out there. But people, I love you. So much joy. Keep radiating, keep vibrating, keep putting on that frequency, keep touching the divine, and keep being ready for those miracles that are coming to you in this moment. Thank you.
You're the best. We love you. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If I didn't say hello, just know that I saw you. All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, everyone.